guys, Emmy over here, and today I'm doing a collab video with Cashrin Sins, and we are reviewing the series Death Note. Let's get started on the video.
We cannot resist that which is.
Death Note, I would have to say, is one of my favorite manga series seen. That was one of the very first series that I actually had the full series to as a manga. And I really enjoyed the art style and everything. Togashi Obata is my favorite mangaka because of the realistic art and the fine details to every page that he does. Sometimes he'll leave a panel blank in the background just to add that suspense, and it is a very good series overall.
Death Note was first serialized in manga magazine Weekly Shonen Jump from December 2003 to May 2006. A television adaptation aired in Japan from October 3rd, 2006 to June 26, 2007, which was created by Madhouse Entertainment. Before Viz Media licensed it, Death Note would air on YTV's Bionics anime block in Canada and on Adult Swim in the United States before getting a DVD release.
What Death Note is all about is a boy named Light Yagami, and he lives a very boring, average college life. Goes to school, goes home, has the perfect family. His father's a cop, stay-at-home mom, younger sister. The average Joe, I guess he was. Until one day he's in class, wandering off in space, and he looks outside. And he sees a book just fall to the ground, and there's a book on the ground. So he just pays no mind to it. He doesn't really pay attention to what happened. And when he goes outside, he picks up the book just because, and he reads the title of the book on it, and it says Death Note on it. So he takes this book home, kind of curious, wanting to know what it's all about. And so he goes home, and he opens up this book, and there's all these rules saying after you write a person's name, they'll die. After 45 seconds, you have to give a cause of their death, or else it'll be a heart attack that they die from. Just different things like that.
The plot is actually very unique. One of the most unique plots that I've seen in a very long time. The show has a very strong beginning. However, the middle and end are much weaker. One of the main flaws of Death Note comes from the second half of the show, where it falls off and it just loses its suspenseful nature. Whether you love them or hate them, the characters in Death Note are the strongest part of the show. The actions of the characters, although mysterious, are very clear and have understandable reasoning for their mindsets.
When all this God stuff coming in his head, and he's just like rambling how he's gonna be God, this creature-like thing called a Shiogami, which in Japanese means God of Death, just pops out of nowhere and is like, "So you found my book." And so that Death Note, the book that he had, Light had, ended up being the Shiogami's book, which the Shiogami's name was Ryuk. And Ryuk's like, "I like you, kid. We're gonna work together, kill some people." Yeah. So Light experiments this Death Note with a criminal, and he writes the criminal's name in it, and they end up dying. So he's like, "Holy crap, I can make a new world. I can be God." And this is where things start going downhill.
The animation is very dark in some scenes, and it seems artistically blurry. This actually worked well for me, and I found the contrast to be incredibly agreeable. Overall, there's not much action going on in this show to really judge the sound effects, but from the little action that does go on throughout the show, I found it to be unrecognizable and nothing all that special. It just seems to be daily activities, closing and shutting doors, writing down on a piece of paper. I mean, really, there's nothing that really stood out in the sound effects department. I've watched this show both subbed and dubbed, and can easily recommend both for your viewing pleasure, and that is something I can rarely say about a show. The soundtrack was amazing. Each song gave the scene that over-the-top drama we all love about Death Note. However, I found the OST far too loud. The volume mix was completely skewed off. Most of the time, the music was so loud that the sound effects had less of a punch. Not only that, but it even drowns out some of the voice acting.
And so, as the story goes on, a detective named L is on his case, trying to figure out who this person is that's killing all these people. A girl named Misa, which she's my favorite character, she ends up having a death note as well, and is able to help Light and distract the detective, and it makes this whole big plan. And Light is a very smart character. He thinks things 20 steps ahead, but so does L. So the detective versus the criminal story, how they think and how they act, it's a really good story. The manga I very much enjoy, because when watching the anime you have to watch it all in order, so you can't only watch a couple episodes and then stop for a really long time, because it gets very confusing with the manga. They make sure to repeat things, and they go into depth with different things that might not be confusing within the anime, and the art is just fantastic. I'll show you some examples from the manga.
Overall, I could ignore the flaws of the animation and the sound. They weren't that bad. One thing that I cannot forgive, however, is the fact that the second half of the show just feels lifeless, and it's not as exciting as that first half. I feel like the plot could have been a little bit better for that second half. Because of this, I can't really recommend you buy this. You're basically paying for an entire series for that first half of the show. So I definitely believe it's worth watching, I just don't think it's worth buying. If anything, I would recommend buying the first half of the show, and then not even worrying about the second half. Now, as for recommendations, this one is actually really hard to find alternate shows for, because Death Note itself is a very unique show. So I went with the theme, and that is Judgment. And so my first recommendation is going to be Hellgirl, where it's very closely tied in with Death Note in the way of judgment, finding justice for those who are evil and who deserve righteousness. The second recommendation is going to be Chaos Head. Now, this show doesn't have much to do with Death Note. However, one thing I do think both of them have together is the psychological horror. And to me, that is something that I have always loved. I love psychological horrors, and Chaos Head is definitely one of the best psychological horrors out there. The third one is going to be Danganronpa, and Danganronpa to me actually really fits in well with Death Note for the same reason that Hellgirl did. It is definitely one of those shows about judgments, finding justice for those who have done wrong.
So I'm just going to show you the covers. The covers are, will have a character on the front, say Death Note, and then they'll have colors based off of the characters type thing. This is my favorite character, Misa, and I'm just going to give an example of the art without spoiling anything. So here is just what the art looks like. That is some fantastic art. And this is what the rules kind of look like, what I was telling you about how there was rules in the book. They actually put the rules per chapter of what would be in this thing, and there's just lots of different things that happen, which I find it's very cool. With the series also, there's also a 2-in-1 series, which is called it's called Death Note Black Edition, which looks like this. Black pages. Yet again, very good art. I'm pretty sure it has a different chapter art too, so in between each chapter there's different art. And then it doesn't have the rules in it. No, it doesn't have the rules, but I like that art though, and that L though.
That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure that you check the second half of this review where we look at My Hero Academia over at Anime Lovers channel. I will leave a link. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. This has been Kashrin. And remember, stay excellent to each other.